his Burnley debut. Oh, what a goal from Josh Brownhill. His first goal for Burnley. The Clarets are on fire. On in turn for Cullen, looking for Brownhill again. Oh, he helps it on. Big chance here for Tala. Can he get the crossing? He can. Rodriguez doing it. Burnley! It's Coutinho at the back post. It's Burnley Banana. 1-0 Clarets.
How are we all? Welcome to Turf Morehouse TV, and we are bringing you what is quite a big debate, really, to be fair, between the Clarets fan base. Lots of arguments to get rid, lots of arguments to keep hold, and see whether he would fit into a company system. But that is what we're going to chinwag about. We're going to talk about, that's right, this man right here, Wout Weghorst. How is the Dutchman going to fare? Is he going to still be here by the end of the transfer window? There's lots of questions to ask, but I'm sure you fans will get your thoughts in as well as we go through. I've got two absolutely amazing guests to come on. One who's all for putting him into this company system, hoping that it'll work out. Where does Chris C fit? Number 10, number 9, and a natural goal scorer. At the moment, looking at his stats for when he played on loan at Manchester United, it's Owen Coyle numbers. United legend probably then. That said, Naif's going to come on as well. As people know, Naif ran the Burnley Mondial podcast and has currently just joined Turfcast as well. So he's done a bit of a Keith Tracy. He's going around all the northern clubs and just enjoying a bit of it. And I'm sure. No drink pun intended there either. That said, guys, thank you very much for the love and support so far. Keep it coming. The season is nearly upon us. So if you want to support us, please do that by smashing a like on this video and sharing if you can. And also give us a cheeky subscription. It costs you nothing. And it's great to get your thoughts and processes out there in the open. We are on socials. I know you can see them all there at the bottom of your screen, but here are just some that you can go and check us out. Here they are.
You're right.
I was going to say the man, the myth, the legend, and we can all fight over who's what. But trust me, I've been called a lot worse. Nath, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. Obviously, in the against category. But I mean, tell people a bit about you as a supporter, what you do, and obviously the recent news.
Yeah. So, been a fan all my life, pretty much. Been dragged on at the age of 2, and a bit of a mad fan. I used to run Burnley Mondial podcast, but we've had a bit of a shake-up, and we've sort of merged with another podcast called Turfcast podcast. I'm sure most of you will be aware. So
never heard of them.
Look forward to putting all our effort into that one podcast, and hopefully, we say that we'll all get stuck in and chip in and we all create content about Burnley. So it's we're all part of the Burnley family. We all talk shit about Burnley, don't we? So it's all good.
It is indeed. Links to Turfcast YouTube page and Twitter page are in the description of the video, as is Nathan's link to his Twitter account if you just want to get in touch with Nath to have some general Burnley fan, like he said, to talk shit about Burnley. That said, it's same for Chris. Chris's Twitter link is in the description below as well. But Chris, how are you? Tell us a bit about yourself, and obviously, you know, you're all for
Yeah, so
Veggie staying in.
I'm probably a little bit different to you. I'm actually from Wigan, so I didn't really grow up in Burnley, but all my family are Burnley fans, so I've been going since I was little. So
Oh, nice.
It's a bit of a trek up to Turf Moor every other week, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
So it's better than watching Wigan at minute.
Yeah, but it wasn't when I grew up. I have to get that. I have people telling me I'm a glory hunter, and I'm not having it because Wigan were better than us.
Yeah. Yeah, to be fair, they've got that FA Cup win, haven't they? So they'll always have that now.
And don't I know it? Trust me, they don't let you forget.
Also, the guys' links are in the description below, so please do go check them out if you need people on any shows or things like that, or want to find out any information on Burnley Football Club. Give them a shout. A couple of comments to go through then before we get into it. Kurt's in the building. Good evening to yourself. He said, good evening, lads. Looking forward to this. Should be an interesting debate. I'm wanting some Jerry Springer shit, but I think we've got more chance of, I don't know, Jeremy Kyle and a bit of cardboard flung it back at air. So it just won't hit me in air anyway. Henry, big up to yourself. Hope you are well. True Red is in. Forest fan, but does a lot of... He lives locally and works with Burnley FC in the community. So I hope you're well, Luke. Good evening to yourself. Evening to Mac as well. Carl's in the building. Says, hope you're well and your family. My thoughts on Weghorst is that if he plays for the team and he scores, think he deserves his chance. I really hope we get some more bodies in soon. Yeah, well, the Trafford one looks like it's pretty much, signed, sealed, delivered. It's just a case of, announcement soon, hopefully. Harry wants him gone. Burn too many bridges. Straight in there. No qualms. I mean, I don't know whether he's on about me, you, Chris, Weghorst. I haven't a clue. But straight in there, Harry. Like it. Straight to the point. Just like my missus. If he's here at the end of the transfer window and company wants him, it'll be fine by me. Anthony's in as well. Big up Dan Jansen. Well, I mean, need I say more? Colin's in. Good evening to yourself. He said, wow, out. Couldn't wait to get away when we got relegated. Something we will touch on in just a moment. Max says, think everyone knows my thoughts on the lanky donkey, but happy to listen to the debate, but mostly here to support down on the channel. Appreciate that. Luke says, what he said wasn't warm, but he deserves a fair crack at the whip, just like everyone else. And Ali, hope you are well as well. I will read everybody else's comments as well as we're going through. They're coming through thick and fast, which is, it's nice to see. So thank you very much. But we can't debate if I'm just going to read comments out. So, I mean, let's get into how this all came about. The bridges being burnt and things like that. Obviously, Wout Weghorst turns up at Burnley as a replacement for Chris Wood. And, Burnley fans were absolutely raving. This is a guy who scored, 20 goals for the majority of clubs that he played for before, joining Burnley. And there was, he could score with his feet, his head. I think some were edited on YouTube the way we've seen him, but especially the edited ones. But that said, it looked like we've upgraded on Chris Wood. Whether it was just the dash system, I mean, that's up for debate of whether he just didn't slot in. We've seen with Lyle Foster already this year as well, that sometimes it can take a little bit of time to bed in. And maybe that's what Wout needed. And with the position that we're in and heads already dropped, that's another question mark. But yes, we did ultimately suffer relegation. And on the flip side of that, the way his statement wasn't written the best, was it, Nath? I mean, if he was going to come out and say the World Cup is my priority, I'm knocking on now in terms of my football career, I've got to think about my chances at a World Cup, there'd have been an ounce of respect for that. But the fact of, I'm not playing in the Championship, it was almost like a stuff you, Burnley, see you later, I'll get a move anyway because my agent's going to suck a dick to get me it.
Yeah, I think his problem that he had was he opened his mouth, and I think the way to have done it was just to do what the others did, which was, I've seen the arguments, for and against him leaving, and some people raising the points of, oh, none of us are kicking off at Tarky or Dwight or Ben Me or whatever, but they didn't come out and go, oh, I'm not playing at Championship, you know what I mean, like, or. Like he should have just kept stum. Like if that was a pre-agreement that he had with Alan Pace or whatever, that if we got relegated, he got to go. If that was it, so be it. He should have just kept quiet, kept stum, and I think he'd have just drifted off into the distance. And I don't think anyone would have bothered, to be honest. I don't think I don't think he ripped up many trees. Showed slight glimpses here and there. The one game that stands out probably is the Wolves game, I think, where he had a really, really good game. But yeah, I think the initial uproar has come from him opening his gob. And if he'd have just probably kept quiet, just did his thing, a lot of Burnley fans would have understood and gone, yeah, fair enough. He wants Prem football or wants this, that, and the other to get it World Cup squad. Yeah, it makes sense. That's why he's gone. That'd have been that. But the fact that he said what he said and then he had to come back and sort of try and save face a little bit, I think just made it even worse. So I think that's where all this comes from. I don't think Burnley fans are sort of like ganging up on him for the sake of it. I think he just didn't handle it the way that he should have handled it, I don't think.
It's almost one of them, isn't it, where it's a case of it's not what you say, it's the way you've said it. And it's, but it doesn't help his cause when he does go off to Besiktas, and then obviously, everyone's just like moved on sort of thing and just said, right, hope he goes permanently. But then the United thing came about, and it was almost like, is he going to go there permanently? And then he started slagging off the training wasn't really that great at Besiktas. And it almost set like a trend here. Like, is this what he does? He leaves a club and then just slanders them. I mean, I don't even think he said anything negative about United, but then yet again, there's probably a reason for that. I mean, I'll come to you, Chris, because I know you're obviously for him to stay in at Burnley and see what he can do in this company style of play, but at that time, did you almost feel a little bit aggrieved? I mean, is it a case of for you, the bridges were burnt, but you've already thought about bringing Barnfield Construction into building back up again?
No, to be honest, when he come out, I think the first one he come out with, I think it kind of transpired that what he actually said got lost in translation a bit, because it was in Dutch, wasn't it, when he originally come out? People said, it got lost in translation. Now, don't know if either of you speak fluent Dutch to like back that up, but I can't. So,
I do when I'm pissed.
Yeah, that'll never be known. But I'm in a minority. I actually respected him more when he came back and he did the interview and he said, yeah, I'm going. This was what was planned. And ultimately, I think what people sometimes forget is that, like, he had one chance to go to a World Cup and he was almost given an ultimatum by Van Gaal. So, well, you ain't going if you're in the Championship. So, I don't know the right word for it, but like football. There's football outside of Burnley, and I think sometimes people can be you can become that blinkered by your love for the Burnley and think, well, he's disrespected us, that you forget that football's like, it's not sunshine and rainbows. He's doing what's best for himself, and that was to go to the World Cup, and that's how I see it. I don't really have a problem with it personally.
I mean, that's fair enough, and I understand that. I just think the disparity between Championship top level Championship football and top level Turkish football, I don't imagine it's too different. Really, if I'm being deadly honest.
That's what I was going to say. To be fair,
that's what annoyed me. I don't. If he'd have gone to West Ham, Leicester, obviously, but they got relegated. But you know what I mean. If he'd have gone to West Ham, Leicester, I don't know, Fulham. If he'd have gone to any mid-table Premier League team, I don't think it'd have made sense. He's a Premier League footballer, he's in limelight, whatever. But he went to Besiktas and he did nothing. I don't know how many did he score? Like 3 or 4. Like he weren't prolific. Did he score 8? Fair enough.
He got 8 in 16, so pretty much like a goal every 2 games.
What's going to boost his chances of a World Cup place is it going to Turkey, bagging 8 goals over half a season, or ripping it up in this ridiculous? Obviously, like hindsight's a wonderful thing, but he would have probably been okay in this system. Come down with us, had a go. If it weren't working in January, and he's still, he were going to get a World Cup call up anyway. I think that was just always going to happen. It didn't matter where he was playing. He was always going to get, because Van Gaal wanted somebody of that like stature and that play style in his team.
See, I look at someone like Mitrovic, though. Someone like Mitrovic, who, like you said, then if it had come down to the Championship, ripped it up. Mitrovic stuck with Fulham even after relegation, and has come back to the Prem. He's had a few chances at it, and everyone were a bit like, maybe he just can't cut it at that level. But we've seen this year, he's ripped up the form book. He literally was up there amongst, some elite Premier League names.
Yeah.
I mean, you can understand what Nath is saying, can't you, Chris, in terms of he should have really stayed and at least, made a point of it.
Yeah, 100%. And especially the difference between I can guarantee you there's the difference in the Turkish league and the champ. There is no difference, really.
No.
There's maybe 2-3 good teams in Turkey, but they never do anything in Europe, so they can't be that good. They're no better than bottom half Premier League teams. They can't possibly be. So the disparity, there is no difference. But if that's what he's been, it's not up to principally. It's not up to him. That's what Van Gaal said to him. Allegedly, let's get that out. Allegedly, we don't know if that's true. So if that's what someone's telling him, then ultimately he's got no choice. But again, is that what he said? You just, unless you're actually him or you Van Gaal, you'll never know whether what he's saying is true. But
it's hard to believe is Wout, because in Germany he has a history of being a bit of a hard work player, a bit of a hard working player, like a piece of hard work. Like he does like to get his opinions out there and stuff. So if he's saying, "Oh, Van Gaal's told me this," do we believe him? Do we not? Because does Van Gaal just have no insight on English pyramid football? I wouldn't have thought. I'd have thought he'd be somewhat clued up. He's a man of his stuff, isn't he? And would play in the second tier and for his chances. I don't know. And if that's Van Gaal's choice to be that shallow with it, then fair enough. Like, that's his prerogative, in it, and makes sense why he did leave. But like I said, he should have just kept them. Should have just let it be. If we'd have all gone, oh, he's gone to be a shit ass on loan. All right, we're getting him off wage bill then. You know what I mean? That'd have been it. Or not, this podcast wouldn't even exist, would it? It wouldn't even be a debate. It'd be
no,
right,
no, it won't.
He's back on wage bill now because we've got Premier League money. Makes sense. But yeah,
I think
it's just
above all, everyone kind of expected he was going to go anyway. When you come in January and all the other big names left, everyone just expected he was going to go. It's only kind of really, like you said, it's only really become an issue when what he said was translated, and then he come out and did the interview. Like you said, if he'd have said nothing, the rest of them did, and just went, this wouldn't be happening now. It's only because he said something and then had to come out and clear up what's got said.
Yeah, I know.
And then it's just become a mess. But it does all come from that first interview. I do agree with that.
Yeah. And then obviously the next spat in that is the Connor Roberts incident, which we probably are going to get to at some point. But that just fuels the speculation, doesn't it? Like, why? I know Connor. It wasn't like it was a World Cup final, was it? Like it was a Nations League game, weren't it? That
it was.
Won. And yet Connor was still angry enough at him to go over to him straight away and be like, why did you do that for Burnley? Well, that's what it looks like. He says anyway. We'll never know what he properly said, but. Something obviously got under the skin of Connor and probably a few other players for him to say something about after that. So, he's obviously that type of player in it, that he's not only rubbing up the fans, it looks like he's rubbing up players as well wherever he goes. So
again, like you said there, though, the Connor Roberts situation, I mean, we'll come to that. Fans obviously appreciation of Connor Roberts for literally, you can see him say it. Why didn't you do that at Burnley? It's pretty well documented.
Yeah.
But it's like you said as well, he was a bad apple, weren't he?
With Connor Roberts, though, we'll caveat that he did, to me, he down tools, or not down tools, he took his foot off the gas in the run up to the World Cup. I'm not happy with that. I know why he's done it, because He's a Welshman. When the Welshmen get a chance to play the World Cup, I get why he's done it. I'm not happy he did it, but he did it anyway. That's where we're at. So I'm not like saying, Connor gets away with it because he come down with us. Like, I still think what he did was wrong. He should give everything he can. But to me, it looked like he was on the concentration path of the World Cup, which is fine. But anyway, back to Wout.
No, it's true though. It's true. Ryan says here in a comment, he says, has VK commented on the situation publicly? No. But the fact that Wout is in the building, they will have had a sit-down conversation. I'm definitely sure of that. And I don't think it would have just stopped at VK either. I think it's probably, he'll have said to Wout that maybe there's a few people still here from when you were here last time. That, I mean, I'll tell you what, I'll put it this way. If there's a few people in here who has watched Ted Lasso, think of Wout like Jamie Tart. He came in, Billy Big Bollocks, I'll do this, I'll do that. Went away, life went down the shit pan, came back and became a team player. I mean, Chris, you're obviously hoping for that he's going to come back, new prerogative, same confidence, but new prerogative to be able to think, you know what, I can get Burnley to that next level, but not even just being a goal scorer, but even being someone that can set us up, when we go forward.
I do think it's different when he comes back now. Like you ain't the big man anymore. Like you're not that guy anymore. Like when companies in the dress, like you're not that guy. No matter what you think, you're not. You're no longer you've not played at that top level like he has. You might have done when Mike Jackson was in charge and Dyche was but you're not that guy anymore. So there's that. So really, his ego he's not the biggest ego in there anymore. He might think he's got it, but he can't possibly have it. And if he does that, if he still thinks he's got the biggest ego at that point, then you've got a problem, haven't you?
Yeah.
And he needs to go. But I think I said on Spaces the other day, the problem we've got as well is that he comes back in. We've got like a £10 million striker there. So all of a sudden, you don't need me to tell you, they're struggling to get players in this summer. Like people are wanting inflated prices. You dip into the Championship, 10 million won't get you anything. It won't get you anything. So you might sell Weghorst for 10 and think, well, I can get someone else in, but it ain't getting you far. And it's certainly not getting you a striker who scored 15 a season in the Bundesliga for however many years. So to me, if you can I'll be doing everything I could to keep hold of him. He fits the system. And all right, he's coming back into, it'll be hostile with some of them lads, but don't forget, a lot of them have gone. We lost how many players did we lose last summer? So maybe 14, something like that. 14 went. So there's only maybe 8-9 players left.
Yeah.
So he's coming into a different group, playing better football because that's what he wants. He's 6'6", and people got lost in this thing that he's good in the air. He's not. He can't jump. He needs the ball into his feet. So in the Prem as well, we need a striker who can hold the ball. That's where we went wrong with like Chris Wood for so many years. He couldn't hold his breath. Never mind the ball. So he fits everything company wants. Someone to drop in, keep possession, and in the Prem we're going to need that. It won't be like the Championship. We ain't going to have 80% of the ball every week. It isn't going to be like that. So when you've got it, you got to keep it, and he will keep it. That's what he's good at.
It's no good me being on a bit debate now when Chris is convincing me in my head.
Yeah.
Well, it might be all right.
Weghorst is in, people. Thanks for watching.
I don't know. I watched him for United, and I think I pick up on his attitude more than his playing ability. And like, he throws his arms around every 5 seconds. Like, if he don't get the ball, he's throwing his arms up. Like, and I watch it time after time. Is Fernandes will beat a man, break a line with the ball. Weghorst is completely free, 20 yards of space. Bruno Fernandes will look anywhere else but give him the ball. Like, there's something fundamentally wrong that they're not willing to pass him the ball. Now, I don't know whether that's...
Is that the courteous amount of missed open chances he had last season? Or
yeah. I just don't think he's the footballer that he thinks he is. Like, he obviously had the moments of magic at the World Cup and whatever, but we all have moments of magic like that. Like when we all play 5-a-side, we can all pop up with a screamer or, something happens, doesn't it? Like, he's bread and butter. Like, he's, like, if we're keeping him in the team, is he going to do what Ashley Barnes did last year, which was be in that number 10 role, be horrible, elbow around, getting people's faces. I don't see
think
it.
so.
I don't see it. I don't see he's got the quality as well to keep up with what we want to do. Like he had a team of superstars around him at United. Like, they probably should be playing better than they are, but he looked out of place. Now, whether he comes down and he fits, he comes down with back into our team and he's got players that have similar ability and he looks all right, but he looked more interested in winning the fans over than actually wanting to play football.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to just run and work hard and show for every ball and forget what position he was playing. He just wanted to be in 20 yards of space. Like, he just like I say, just seemed more interested in making himself look like a United player that the fans love than actually just being a football player. When they won the Carabao Cup, all the United players ran to one end to celebrate with each other. He's then fucked off on his own for like 90 yards and knee slid in front of the United fans. Like, he's on loan from Burnley. Like, what are you doing? Like, just enjoy your team. And like, you know what I mean? I'd understand Rashford doing that or anybody, and David De Gea doing that, but like, he's been there 2 minutes. You're on loan for Burnley. You ain't getting another contract United, no matter how many times you kiss the badge or tell fans how amazing they are. Like, just concentrate on being a footballer and enjoy it while you can, because it's a short career. And if he does that, if he does that, I think he will be good for us. But I don't think he can. I just don't think he's got the attitude you need, especially in a company dressing room, to adapt. You have to be really willing to let go and let company just tell you what to do. You're going to get dropped from time to time. Like, if you have a bad game, you're going to get dragged off like Muric did. You know what I mean? If you're, if, you know what I mean? Like, company won't stand for this arm flailing and, like, it's all about me, give me the ball, I'll do it, sort of thing. Because that's what he thinks, that's what he does. So if he comes back to us and he does that and he changes it all, I think he'll be fine. If not, I just don't see how he fits in. I think he's going to upset the dressing room, upset the balance.
I mean, Chris, do you see him as a number 9 or a number 10? I mean, I was speaking to a few people. A 9?
Yeah, he's not a 10, is he? Like, he's not.
No.
I can see where people come from, where they get this thing of a 10, where he's going to, like, he's not a 10 in a company system. He ain't coming into midfield and, like, he's a 9. And I think someone described him as a 9.5, and that's probably the most accurate I've seen of him. He's not a 9. He's never going to score 15 a season in the Prem. He's not. But he isn't a 10. He's weird. But then again, like, company strikers aren't really out and out 9s. He's not.
No, I mean, how many of us sat here would have said Obafemi is a VK signing?
Well, I think the problem with Obafemi is I don't think anyone actually knows what his position is. That's the biggest issue with it.
No, it's just that typical Burnley thing of signing a striker and sticking him out wing.
Yeah.
Lafferty, Patterson, J-Rod, bloody hell. Happened well and truly too many times over years.
Yeah, I don't know if I was picking him in a team, he'd be playing as a 9, but we all know a striker in a company team isn't playing like a 9. He's going to be coming in, linking play, and that is what he's good at. But someone, I think it was Paul, made an interesting comment about him when he went to United. And I said this the other day. When he first went to United, and people laughed. People used to laugh when he'd get picked. And like, oh, you're playing with Weghorst, and you're like, you Man United. But Ten Hag picked him every week. Every single week he played for United. And they did have other options. He could have moved Rashford, or like Martial was coming back. And even when he did, he still picked Weghorst for a good run. And there's a reason he gets picked every week, and it's not just because he was the only man. Like, he was United's number 9 for a good stint of time. I think people probably sort of disrespect that a little bit and think, well, there was no one else. But every week he got picked, week in, week out. He was his trusted individual, and I do think he actually helped people. I don't watch United every week, but when I did watch United, I always thought he did all right. I don't know what else people expected from him. He's not going to go and score 20 goals, because if he was, he'd already be playing for United. So I don't know what people expected from him.
Well, I think I'm hoping that experience humbles him a little bit. He actually looks back and goes, shit, yeah, that were a heavy shirt to wear. That were a high level, and he played in some big games, didn't he? Like, United had a pretty horrid run in for the back end of the season. So I'm hoping it sort of humbles him and he goes, actually, yeah, like, I'm not a, obviously every player thinks they're going to be the best in the world, but a lot of players have a sense of realism and they know where they're at that moment. And I hope that he does have a bit of a reality check and goes, actually, a crack at Burnley for 12 months won't be such a bad thing. You know, if I give him a season, comes away with 10 goals, say, you know, he's had a good season there because we're not rely as a team. We don't rely on an out and out striker, do we? We spread the goals across everybody.
Yeah.
Like they all muck in. If he can muck in with 8 goals, 5 assists, everyone else is going to pick up that, you know, slack elsewhere. Like, and he'll be all right. But again, I think he'll think the opposite way of gone. I've just played for United. I'm a United striker. I think I deserve to beat United.
That's what I was going to get onto because
to
there's
Barcelona,
that.
you know.
Yeah, there's that, and there's also we've got such a young squad now. If he's going to be that player who doesn't receive a pass and his arms are everywhere, what does it do for the confidence of these young lads?
Yeah. Well, you're going to get throughout the game, like you can see it happening now every game. Anas is going to get the ball, couple of step overs, cut inside, try and chop one into top corner. It's not going to work. There will have been a pass on, but Company's not bothered. You know, none of the other players are bothered. Benson does it. You know, for most of the time it goes back to net. Benson does it, but like players try stuff in this team. Like they won't play the obvious pass. You know, like if a player drops in and drops back in 10 yards of space, like they probably won't get picked out. It's usually left the space for somebody else to run in behind, and they'll play the more difficult pass. That seems to be how Company wants to do it. Is he going to play along it with that game? I don't think he is. I think he's going to get more annoying. He's going to be difficult. And like you said, we've got a set of young lads that are keen and want to learn under Company. And that's got to be a fine balance of you've got to have lads that are happy to, they know that they're good enough, but they're also humble enough to know that they need to improve. And you've got to be somewhat like moldable and, bendable with that. And if you've got a bad influence, like I think he's a bad influence. Like we're all just going off opinions on about, but I think he's a bad influence in a dressing room. I think the whole arm flailing and the whole me sort of thing, I just can't see him being a positive influence in that dressing room. And Company bangs on about environment and positivity and like, again, a caveat all this, if Company is sat with Wout, which we don't know he has or not, he's not said anything, and he's got Wout on his side, then I think he'll be a good asset. But again, don't think he sees himself as a Burnley player. I think he purely used us as, I'm going to stay for Burnley for 6 months, stay in the Prem, and I'm out of it. That's genuinely what I'm pretty sure we were going to do. Like, even if we'd have stayed up, he was gone somewhere else. Like, so, like I say, if Company's going to get him round, convince him that, to play Company's way and play Company's game, because Company's the top dog in that dressing room now, regardless who comes in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not going to sign many players that have a bigger ego, justified bigger ego than Company. If Wout wants to play Company's game, then I think it'll work. But I just really don't see it. I think he's a rotten egg.
No, I mean, Chris, on the flip side, like I say, a lot of people, Nick says he'd rather have him than not. Do you think he'd be someone, as much as he's vocal on the pitch when it doesn't go right, can you see him also being a person that's vocal in terms of, when we had Joe Hart and he was a great person to have around in the dressing room, could we utilise him in that way? Or do you think that with what we've already seen from him so far, a bit like when you get cheated on, a leopard never changes its spots? Is it sort of, what's the situation with Weghorst in your mind? How do you see it?
I do. I probably do agree with Nathan. I can't imagine he's that go-to guy in the dressing room. Like if you need picking up, I can't imagine he's that sort of guy. Like there's other people who are in the dressing room for that, like Court, Brownhill, people like that. You've got your more experienced players, but no, I don't know. I could be wrong. Obviously, I don't know him personally, but I can't. He doesn't come across as that sort of guy. Yeah. I can well believe what Nathan said. Like in game, if there's a pass he doesn't get, I can see him sort of like nibbling someone's ear and be like, "Oh, you should have given me that." And I can see that side of him, and that does play on my mind. Where I think, well, is that what you want? I don't know. I'll be honest with you, some of the points you've made here have actually sort of made me guess myself a little bit.
It's the worst debate ever, isn't it?
I can see you can see the arguments from both sides, and there is no right or wrong answer to it. Until like we're a year down the line or 6 months and we know whether it's worked or it's not, or he stayed and it was exactly, there won't be a right answer until then.
Well, the swing of it all is the people that are for him to stay are very much like stats, numbers, fits in the system. The people that are against him, I think, have taken what he's done like to heart, which I think that's very much, I can see like his type of player, which is big, decent, okay with his feet, he's aggressive, he's physical, he can finish, when he actually tries, and gets opportunities, he can do. I see that in him, but I see his personality more than I see his ability. And like I said, I think we've got impressionable young players that are still learning the trade. Pretty much all 75% of this squad have never kicked a Premier League football. Let alone play in the Premier League. You know what I mean? It's a massive learning curve, and this is the season. This first season back, we've got to be like rowing in the same direction. We have to be, because company's going to get it wrong at some point, whether it's the first couple of games, potentially the first fucking game where we get absolutely trounced off City at home. There's potentially that we've got to be rowing in the same direction. And if you've got one player that is just rowing in an opposite way, or he does jump 2 foot short, you're right. Maddest thing I've ever seen that. If you've got a player that's slightly rowing in a different direction or a different pace or a different speed, it throws everybody off. And I don't think we've got time, to keep someone like that. You know what I mean? I think we need to have people who are going to go in the right direction. And I just don't think Wout is going to be that person.
Which is interesting, because he was actually brought in the middle of a relegation battle.
Yeah.
And like they must have known this when they signed him, which poses the question. He was never in a million years someone Dyche would have signed.
Yeah.
Never. Because he's nothing like Chris Wood. Absolutely can't run, for one, which Chris Wood could do.
Yeah.
And he was actually like in the air, Wood would win something, Wout doesn't. So it poses the question, but like, which again, like we said before about the argument won't be here if he did do the interview. Whoever signed it, I've got absolutely no idea who scouted him and thought, he'll do for Dyche.
I know.
We should never be in this position. He should. Maybe if company had signed him, you'd have said, I can see the logic in that. But whoever signed him last season was way off. Absolutely way
and
off.
I don't understand why
Riggs one signing.
But I don't understand if, like, I saw the chap called Chase the Dream. Like, I didn't say he should have stayed. I don't think he should have stayed. I just think he shouldn't have said what he said. Should have just gone. Like, that should have been the outcome. But I don't understand why we've signed a player for a relegation battle, but the only way to convince him to come is to say, if we do go down, you can do one anyway. Don't worry about it. Like, if that's what we're doing, if that's what was agreed, which I don't think was agreed, I just think he genuinely spat his dummy out. I'm like, I ain't playing it Championship. Van Gaal saying you're not playing it World Cup if you're playing it Championship. That's what's happened. And he's gone into Alan Pace and said, you need to find me a loan because I'm not playing it Championship. I forgot the point I was going to make. But, I think, I think that's what I think's happened. I just think he genuinely just did not want to play in the Championship, and he would have done anything he can. Going to Besiktas or playing, what company we've had in mind, his company's come out and said, it's happened a lot sooner as well, but he's adamant that he was going to play top-end Championship football. That's what company wanted to be. He was going to be pushing and pushing and pushing. It happened a lot quicker than we planned, but playing top-end of Championship, playing in Besiktas are not far apart at all. Like, they might have a little stint in Europa League or whatever, or, some might dip into Champions League now and then, but it is not far apart. And you actually go into probably a World Cup with a bit of a better PR train behind you, because, we'd have gone up there, we'd top off at Championship, he'd have probably bagged quite a few more goals, he'd have had a few anyway. I just find him really polarised. He's a really fascinating fucking character, is Wout Weghorst. Like, really fascinating character. He has all the mental ability to be any player he wants to be, with not enough talent to back it up. If it were the other way around,
he's the only person I know that can make you as a person feel like you've got bipolar, because you don't know whether you love him or hate him. He's such a Marmite person, even though he's wearing claret and blue. It's weird.
If his levels of talent was matching the levels of confidence, he would be one of the world's best one of the world's best players. And I just find him fascinating, and I still find it baffling that he's landed on our doorstep, like little old Burnley's doorstep. We've got this, ex-United player, as he likes to probably call himself now. So
No, there is that. There is that. I mean, big question is then, this is a guy who's 30, he's 31 this in August. If we could get 10 million now, does that seal the deal and you take it? Because, like I say, at 31 years old, and from what you've seen so far, I mean, Chris, I'll come to you with that one first, because yes, he's had the loan moves, and at Besiktas, goal every 2 games, it's worked out. We saw it at United; it was more hold up, involve others. We saw him involved in the Rashford goal and things like that. And as much as you remember goals, nobody really focuses on the missed opportunities and all these other things. 31 years old coming up this year, you get 8 to 10 million, even in this transfer window, as much as you are for him staying.
Yeah.
Is that enough? Is that enough to twist your arm?
10 million for a 31-year-old is good money. Very good. But I'm going to play devil's advocate. Like I said earlier, 10 million.
That's what I like to hear.
10 million now, like, it ain't getting you anything. Like, we've got to, if we sell him, we've got to replace him. And we've already got J-Rod, who blatantly, like, J-Rod didn't get a game in the Championship towards the end, so he's not playing in the Prem, is he? Like, let's be real. We've lost Barnes. If we then lose Weghorst as well, we're left with Foster. And Foster, like, I'm sorry, but Foster, again, I'm not sure. I know he's coming from Belgium, but he doesn't out for me, I'll be honest. I don't think much of him. He could prove me wrong, and I hope he does, but is he Premier League? Not for me. So we already need a striker as it is. 10 million for Weghorst won't get you anyone who can, like, match what he's got for me. So I don't know. I'd say 10 million if we could get someone in who's as good as him, or if we could get a really promising young striker in for 10 million, I'd say but I don't know. I'd like to know who was available for 10 million. If you give me a list of players available for 10 million, I can give you a better answer.
It's like you said there, though. You said it at the beginning. 10 million gets you jack shit these days, and if you were to get a player for 10 million, even then you've still got to look at some young up and coming fluke, like a Sober Thomas who went to Huddersfield and ripped it up in his first season, or another Jamie Vardy. But like in today's market, you probably are paying 10 million more than $1 million. And that's probably where you're going to get it. But I don't know. I mean, would you sell him if it meant accommodating a signing such as Teller or Fleming from Millwall? Would you rather say Weghorst out and one of those?
If you can invest your money somewhere else and it makes sense financially, because again, and sometimes it's easy to forget. Sometimes people think we've come up and we've got like a money tree. We haven't. We haven't got unlimited money. We've not got 200 mil like Forest had. We might have 70 tops, perhaps. We ain't got that much money. So if they're going to start spending more, they're going to have to recoup it somewhere else. But like we said, 10 million's getting you nothing. So this is what you've got to think. Like, it's easy to get rid of him, and maybe it's worth getting rid of him if he's going to come back and be a problem. I don't know. We don't see him every day, and only one man knows the answer to that. So that's up to him. But all I'd say, 10 million, it's getting you nothing. It's getting you nothing. No. You're taking a chance on some youngster probably for 10 million because it's getting you nothing.
That's what I mean. Come January, do you cut your losses with him if it hasn't worked out?
100%. If it's not worked in January, they have to shift him out. 100%. But I said on Spaces the other day, like we have got 3 games before August is out. Well, no, we've not. We've got 2.
We've got a shit ton at home now, haven't we? Because of Luton.
We've got City and Villa at home, haven't we, before August? So he is going to get 2 chances to have a look at him in 2 different games and see it in the Prem if he wants him or not. And from the end of August to the end of the window, someone will take him. Someone will always have him on loan, or someone will take a punt on him. And I think Turkey's window stays open longer anyway. So someone will have him. So someone somewhere will always have Wout Weghorst. It'll never be a case of we're stuck with him. We might not get what we paid back for him, which we probably never will, but someone will always take him off our hands, even if it's only getting the wages off. Someone will have him somewhere, so we'll never have to worry about that.
No,
but they'll never get back what they paid for him. I think that one's
no.
Yeah, he's done that to himself by where he's been. He's proven that he's not. We got him a bit of a steal because I think he was coming to the end of his contract at was it Wolfsburg?
Yeah,
I think he was coming to the end of his contract, so we got him at a bit of a cut rate. I mean, we still probably paid too much, I think, and it felt like a get anybody in to help bolster the rank, just spend that Chris Wood money, because we got silly money for Chris Wood, off Newcastle, so just spend as much as that as possible. But yeah, like if we can get 8 to 10 million for him, and it goes towards Teller coming back or THB, or if we can get something returned on his departure, then I think it's good. It makes obvious sense. But if we can't, I just feel like he's just going to linger like a bad smell. He's just going to. I don't think he's going to be in the starting lineup. I just don't see it. I know I don't want to keep. I just don't see Company want him in the starting lineup. I think positionally, if we're just dropping him in on a Football Manager formation, it makes sense. Big lad can drop in, hold it up. I just don't think he's going to do it. Don't think he's not got the legs. We keep the ball for a fucking long time, and we're still going to do it in the Prem. We're going to try to do it in the Prem. It's not going to happen as often as we are, but we're going to try and keep that ball for as long as possible, and that means, centre half to Cullen, back to centre half, back to left back, back to keeper, back to he's not going to get the ball, and he's going to hate every minute of it is about, and he's going to be switched off out of the game, and I just don't think. Again, I'm saying this with a massive caveat of I don't know what Company's going to do with him. If Company can somehow sit him in his dressing room and go, look, come with me now. Your last time you're under Dash, you're under Mike Jackson, you're under me now. Let's go make magic together. And if he does, fair play to Company and fair play to Wout. But I don't know, he just keeps mentioning the Premier League. He never mentions Burnley. The first time I've ever heard him say anything positive about Burnley was on that stupid video that the club put out, which I think is purely a fucking PR exercise from the club to say to other clubs, he's for sale. That's all I think that is. It's nothing to do with trying to rebuild the relationship. That is the club saying, come and get him. He's for sale. We've still got him here. Don't forget about him. Come and get him off us. Because that training video, I reckon 35% of it that they put out, a 9-minute clip, 35% of it without Weghorst, walking around with his shoulders lower than his nipples.
I mean,
and I also loved Connor Roberts' face as well when they cut that. I'm not gonna throw rumors or whatever that around, but it looked
from
like
a guy who's going like,
the guy that's bouncing around the training ground that goes around. He's the laugh and soul of every party. He's cracking jokes on TikTok all the time, and yet he's strolling in, putting his vest on like he's just seen an ex that he fell in. He's just seen an ex that he can't stand. And he's like. Ugh. Again, going to go through this again. It was absolutely hilarious.
He is one of the ones who was there from the Prem as well, though. Like he is one of them ones who is likely to hate him, and you hear stories of like things that have gone on, and he's one of the ones who won't like him, and there'll be others in that group who you don't even realize who hate him as well. And
that's all it takes, though, isn't it? Because all it takes is one person to say, somebody turn around to Connor Roberts because they know that there's a dislike there and go, Wout were a bit of a prick last week, weren't they? And then all of a sudden there becomes a bit of a click, and then the segregation throughout the squad, and it's a very tough one to call because football, as we know, it is a short career in terms of what they've got. But he's at that back end of his career. Do they grit the teeth and bear it till? I mean, how long's he got? Has he got 2 years?
Yeah.
It's a long time.
It's a long time, yeah.
It is, yeah.
And you got to think companies from the same cloth as Guardiola as well. Like Guardiola, you've seen it with what's that right back called who sent to Bayern Munich?
Kyle Walker.
No, other one.
Cancelo.
One of the best wing backs in the world. He wasn't pulling in the same direction. Bang, off he went. Like that, instantly. Didn't even think about it. Just said, off you pop. Like,
same with Sane as well, weren't it?
Yeah. But Vincent is cut from the same cloth as Guardiola. Like, he has learned football from Guardiola. Like, it's clear as day that everything that company's doing is pretty much, a carbon copy of what Guardiola's doing to an extent. So the moment that not just about any player decides to not pull in the same direction, he ain't starting. He ain't playing in that team. He'll just sit on the bench, and I'd about walk like that, and it will get worse and worse for him. And like I said, I know that video of Connor Roberts, it probably is just some of nothing. He's probably just, he's had a late night with Little, he's got a new, he's got a young kid, and he's probably just a bit like, pre-season, here we go again. Probably very coincidental, but if it's not, there's something happening there. There's something going on, because the last video that he was on, he was like chirping away on a golf course, like taking the mick out of his shots. Like, yeah, fascinating.
He's coming in at the worst time. He's coming back at the worst time as well. After going up and last summer really would have been the ideal time to bring him, like with all the new lads and that. But like all these new lads have been with the old lads who hate it, who evidently, I'm speculating, say they don't like him, but I can't imagine a lot of them do. And they all talk. They'll all have been talking and saying, "Oh yeah, I don't like him," or "He's done this, he's done that," or "He's gone because of this," and like, "Oh, he did this last season,"
You're not telling me that, like, middle of last season, when all the other lads are watching the World Cup app or watching that Nations League game, and they're watching the World Cup and they seen Wout Weghorst do that. You're not telling me that we're in the lads group chat and going, "Where the fuck is that come from?" Like, he's never shown an ounce of that yet. Same with the Connor Roberts thing. That was flying about in the lads group chat. Obviously, Wout probably weren't in. And I bet they were going, "Oh my God, this is going to be absolute box office if he comes back." Or like they're probably saying he cannot come back. Like, something's gone on there. Like, they'll know what happens in that dressing room. But
you'd love to have been a fly on the wall when you first walked into the dining room and everyone was like, "Oh God, he's actually back."
Just that video, that absolute. I don't know why the club did it. I'm baffled by it. I'm absolutely baffled by it.
Well, you could see everybody's comments, weren't they? Just like the Wout PR is coming. I think it was Neil Layfield that put that out about, the PR stuff's coming. And again, it's similar to what you say. Are they trying to just like, he's here, come get him?
There's two things that I see. There's either tactically putting him out there to say, "Look, don't forget that he's back at Burnley, have a sniff around," or whatever. Or two, it's purely just for a bit of clickbait. Like, it's purely, they know they're going to, like that clip, like last time I saw it, we're on 4 million views.
That was the first thing I thought was, this is just for views, like engagement.
Yeah. Like that, it's on 7.2 million views. Like, that's nuts. That is mega. That's mega numbers, isn't it? So if that's what.
And he grew his social media as well, did Wout, while he was at United. You could tell how much the numbers on his Instagram page. And I know this sounds stupid and we sound like millennials talking about all this, like, oh, look at his Insta.
He gets about 1,000 comments on every post from Besiktas fans, doesn't he? It's strange.
Well,
foreign fans are always like that, though, aren't they? Foreign fans really like
stupid. I made a stupid video where I like dubbed it over and said like, "Oh, I hope I don't get chinned off that scary little Welshman," and like that got mad numbers just off United fans like commenting. Like they just latch on to anything that's linked to United, don't they? Like, they jump on it, and like I say, I'm hoping that's what the club are thinking. It was just, let's capitalize on this, let's get a load of eyes on the Twitter page, and let's get it out there. But I'm still baffled by it. The club should just keep the nose out of it for a little bit and just let him see what he does. Did he play in the last behind closed door game? Do we know?
He did, yeah.
Oh,
that's my dog. Sorry. That's my dog.
I heard Weghorst out. Say, dog don't agree with you, Chris. But someone says they turn up with blonde hair looking like Eminem from Wish. Again, it's like you said, it's a very tough one. But I'll tell you what, we'll wrap it up because there's like you said, both of you have said tonight that there's room for debate with positives and negatives. We could all sit here and the negatives outweigh the positives. Some of the positives maybe just in hope next year. But that said, come the end of this transfer window, would you rather see Wout in claret and blue or gone?
Personally, Wout out. I think don't need him at the club. Don't need it. He's going to be a nuisance. You know, if he is the player that he thinks he is, I still think he's going to be a nuisance. And he's going to. I feel like he's going to cause some problems for the dressing room that just doesn't need to be there in this really important first half of the season. Again, always caveat: if company wants to keep him and can get him playing the way company wants, fair play, Vincent, and I'll back you. I'm not back Wout. I'll back you. So. Yeah, Wout out unless company is desperate to keep you.
Chris, I mean, how do you see it?
Yeah, I'd edge for keeping him purely because I think he's a good option. Probably better than anything we really have at the minute. And with our struggling to bring players in at the minute as well, and like it's difficult. Like I just think it's difficult to sign players. Like we said before, if we sell him, I don't think we'll get anything in as good as him. But again, I'll caveat like Nathan did. I'll give the cop out. But he's just, it could be problematic. It could be a massive problem, but we won't know till we try. And I do think it's worth like a shot at salvation, but it might not work. We might get stung. We might get stung with him.
I'd rather he be at another team.
We're all going to come back to you, Chris. We're all going to come back to you, Chris, and say, what was this bullshit you're on about for the best part of an hour of a week?
Yeah.
If this is another club, I'd be well happy with it because I'd watch it all unfold and go, this guy is gonna drag everyone down with him. It's gonna be box office. It's gonna be brilliant, but it makes me nervous that obviously, like, this is company's first year in the Prem. A lot of lads' first time in the Prem. We need everybody on the same hymn sheet. Again, if company can get him on that hymn sheet and Wout wants to be on that hymn sheet, fair enough, but I don't see it. I think it's gonna be a bad egg. What's Dutch?
No, it's like egg? You said.
Someone Google it.
God knows. But it probably, it's like you say, Connor Roberts has gone from a singing, dancing, laughing clown, you know, the life and soul of the party, to all of a sudden feeling like the soul's been ripped out of him, feeling like a ginger kid. I should know, no soul whatsoever. That said, I mean, I agree with this. We saw it with. Muric. You know, a lot of fans going, ooh, every time Muric got the ball. I hope we're not going to see that with Wout. Whether you are for or against, if he's on that pitch wearing claret and blue, no matter what, if he fucks up, you are clearly going to turn around and use him as a scapegoat. Of course you are. But until he does, you know, back him. It'll be interesting to hear what happens when the team sheets are read out and everyone's like, wait, no, number 13, Wout Weghorst.
I think there will be it'd be an interesting moment that first game if he's like even on the bench. It'd be fascinating to see it all unfold. I'm hoping that the documentary. So I don't know when they started filming, whether it was like because it was always in the back of relegation. So did they start filming before that transfer window when they got him in, or did they start filming just after? So we might actually know a bit more about the Weghorst saga. You know, these producers know what they're on about, so they might see that as a bit of a subplot underneath all the drama.
A bit like the Mourinho Dele Alli conversation. We could see Weghorst chat. I mean, Chase the Dream, you said there, Besiktas wanting back, so it can't be that bad. Well, in a Besiktas t-shirt, when you're getting a goal every 2 games, I suppose it isn't that bad. And sometimes at certain clubs it works out. It's just from what we've seen so far, it didn't work. However, that's the whole point of this. You know, under Dash, it didn't work. But Chris is saying under VK, different style of play, he could fit in quite well. That's what I mean. It is one of them, but Max says there, Besiktas can have him.
My problem with him is every club he goes to, he automatically is just like, kiss the badge. I'll die for this club. I'll run, you know. And then he did that for us. We were like, this guy's fucking, like when he first came in, I was like, this guy's sick. Like, no, Dutch international. Like, we never signed players like this. Like, this is sick. Yeah. And then he leaves us, and then I see him playing for Besiktas, running down fucking touchline, kiss it badge, jumping on fucking Odins to ultras and giving it all that. As soon as United come, bang, gone. Kiss it badge, knee sliding in front of fans. Like, he just pimps himself out to whatever he can get. Like, you can't keep doing that. Like you can't, especially can't keep doing it and then come back. I think he's got to accept that what he does isn't right. You know, you got to. Players can back the team straight away, but you got to like do it in the right time frame. A 6-month loan, don't think it's the time to start kissing a badge or
No.
you know what I mean.
No, I mean Doug's in. Hope you're well, Doug. He says he's a good player. Not surprising he wasn't kept by United. I think it's just that when obviously clubs have contingency plans already put in place before a season's ended. So if Ten Hag's already gone, now we're not going to keep hold of him because we can utilise his whatever we were paying his wages wise. We could use on Mason Mount's wages per se. So that, you know, there's things like that, but I totally get it. Burnley till I die. I understand the comment. I'm not going to put it up though, just because of you know,
Wow.
well, you know, don't know how dark. I mean, the channel can go dark, but I don't want to go that far. Nick says Barnes had many periods of goal droughts, but we always back it. It is funny. It's one of them that it's not. It's,
you can't put
but I can't put that up. Can't put that up. And Max says, wonder how many arguments occur between our fans in the stands when team sheets are read out. Like I say, it is going to be interesting. And Nate, evening to yourself. Thank you very much to yourselves, Nate and Chris. Really do appreciate it. Alice says, a full programme wasted on Weghorst, the fans' enemy. The thing is, though, it's things like this that we're not sat here slandering him. We're not sat here saying, fucking shit, is this, is that. Yes, players have bad moments. Players have bad games. Players have bad spells, stints, whatever you want to call it. We're talking as a fan base who's passionate about a football club that we see as our club, and there's nothing more that all three of us would like to see fortunes turn and him be, you know, go down as one of the greats, even based on one season. Like somebody said earlier in the chat, you know, Joey Barton came as a bad egg, and you know it turned. However, you know, he's already made a name as a bad egg since being here, and I think that's what's the problem. Better than a fan's enemy, Kurt says. Oof. Doug says, see you tomorrow. Appreciate that, Doug. But go on.
Should just jump onto some slightly breaking news from the Mirror. John Dahl Tomlinson is considering quitting Blackburn after being warned the club faces a fire sale. So that's nice, isn't it? That's a nice way to end the pod.
Oh,
John Dahl, who was winning them the league, and
he
did a toilet flush sound effect.
Yeah,
I can't believe they need a fire sale with all that Premier League money they got last August.
I'm not being funny, but that's their own fault. Maybe if they'd have sold Diaz in the summer or in the January window to make some money, at least, you know, releasing Dak. They've released probably two heavy earners there in Dak and Diaz. And most of I don't get how they need a fire sale when half of their squad is young. Most of them have come through the system, so they're not going to be on like mega wages
because they're in so much debt. But the fans tell you, we owe debt to the Venkies, but you still owe money. It doesn't matter who you owe it to. You still. It doesn't make a difference.
They're making zero money on match day revenue.
We won more money with a Benson goal at Ewood Park this season than they've got in their coffers, mate. We won it in their backyard, yes. Guys, really do appreciate it. And as I say, it is just one of them. If he's wearing claret and blue, back him. If he does go before the end of the window, then obviously I'm sure from quite a lot of our fan base, they will be glad to see the back of him. However, if you have bought a Weghorst Burnley shirt,
fair play.
I mean, yeah, fair play. You brave soldier, you. But no, thank you very much, Nath. Appreciate it. Where can people check you out and your recent news?
Yeah, just jump onto socials. I'm there on Nathan J Rog, JAYROG, and then I'll be on. You'll see me on a lot more on Turfcast podcast going forward, making stuff there. So yeah, come along and make sure you keep checking out Dan's stuff because I know Dan grinds hard on here, so he puts a lot of effort into it and he makes good content for you guys. So, so yeah, keep supporting Dan. He's doing a good job. Part of the Clarets family.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say carrot then, just to take the piss, but you know. Chris, really appreciate it as well. Where can people check you out and obviously get you on to talk all things Burnley as well?
Yeah, I think my @'s Chris_Wilson6. So if you're into like seeing me tweet nonsense about Burnley, then just give me a follow. You won't be disappointed.
Thanks everybody as well in the chat. Really appreciate so many names to go through. Nigel says there, keep him. Everyone saying about doing all these things. Kurt says, any plans to podcast again, Dan? Yeah, we will be doing as the season draws closer. I think doing an end of season review for last year might be a little bit pointless now. But we will be doing more videos coming up. I am in talks with a ex-pro who could potentially be coming on. Don't worry, I've not gone as big as Sam Vauxhall. I've gone Z-list Burnley players if that's the case. And fingers crossed he's not watching. Otherwise, I'll just have to. The next one's going to be like, I'm not going on now. I'm not going. I'm not good. I'm not in that category. But no, thank you very much. There will be plenty of podcasts, plenty of content coming. My loyalty points numbers are shit, so expect me to be on here doing plenty of watch-alongs because that's all I'll get to see unless I open window, try and stand outside Turf Moor and hear for crowd noise. Try and get a bit of authenticity going. Although the signal for internet is shite outside Turf Moor, so I'll just stay home. Thank you very much, everyone. Like I say, I really do appreciate it. Again, to yourself, Nave, to Chris, thanks for giving up your time on a Sunday. And that is it from us. You can join us again soon. We will be back with more videos. We will be covering the England women's games as well. But like I said, whether you are Weghorst in or Weghorst out, back him. If he's still here, back him. Until then, take care. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon with another video. Cheers.